After an extremely lengthy legal battle, Remington, a gun manufacturer, has been forced to release documents that indicate that they knew that one of their guns, a specific model of their guns, had a defect that was extremely dangerous and led to people accidentally shooting their guns when they didn't intend to do so. Now, the vast majority of these documents were compiled by a man by the name of Richard Barber. He's a Montana man whose 9-year-old son was killed when he says a Remington 700 rifle, that's the model in question, fired unexpectedly during a family hunting trip in 2000. Now, these documents, more than 130,000 of them in all, have been assembled in a searchable online database by the advocacy group Public Justice. Lawsuits have alleged that for decades, the company covered up a deadly design flaw that allowed the guns to fire without the trigger being pulled, resulting in dozens of deaths and hundreds of injuries. Now, CNBC has done really incredible investigative reporting on this issue. They released a documentary about 5 years ago, and then they did another update to it. And the update today is that these documents are available, and they show that the company essentially knew that this was a problem, but they not only covered it up, they did everything that they could to avoid the cost of fixing the faulty issue with the gun. Now, take a look at this video. It gives you a little more detail, and then I'll tell you exactly what they knew and how they covered it up. Take a look.
There are handwritten notes from Remington engineers wrestling with the problem of FSR, Remington's internal term for guns firing when the safety is released, which was what happened to the Barber's gun. These notes, written nearly a decade before Gus was killed. There's a study that Remington commissioned by an independent lab concluding that inadvertent firings may be an infrequent random phenomena caused by debris, exactly the theory plaintiffs' lawyers have argued and Remington has repeatedly denied. All of the documents, which Rich Barber claims could have saved lives, including his son's, have been hidden from the public all these years through a legal maneuver known as a protective order.
Well, these are the documents that you've never been able to share before.
Yes. Protective orders are common in product liability cases, supposedly to let companies turn over evidence to the other side without having to worry that their trade secrets will get out, like secret formulas or unique designs.
So real quick, that's just a snippet of the work CNBC did on this issue. I highly recommend you guys watch the full video, which is about 12 minutes long. It gives you more details into how much that they covered up. But the incredible thing is, lawsuits have linked the Remington 700's trigger mechanism to at least 24 deaths. And when CNBC spoke to the inventor of this mechanism, he was 98 by the time that they finally got a chance to interview him. He said, no, you guys don't understand. Before this rifle was even on the market, I let Remington know that they could replace this mechanism and they won't have any problems with it. And Remington realized that in order to do so, they would have to spend 5.5 cents more per gun. And they decided that the cost was too high and they'd rather take the risk. And for decades, they got away with it until, enough lawsuits and enough fighting got them to recall these guns and make the changes.
So can we dispel the notion that companies are moral creatures? Or people? Because a lot of times politicians will put moral traits onto a corporation. Mm-hmm. So they'll say things like, I think we can get our companies to be more patriotic. A machine can't be more patriotic. They need to react in a way that is better for the community. Why? They're a money-making machine. They're not drawn up to give a damn about the community. And so every time I say that, like, the corporatists will be like, how dare you besmirch the reputation of our beloved corporations. No, look, first of all, I'm not saying they shouldn't exist. I'm saying they should only have the rights that we give them, not some constitutional rights given to them by our creator. This is insane. And the reason I say all that is because look at what they'll do for 5.5 cents. Mm-hmm. From time to time, I'll say, they'll do this for a nickel. In this case, it's literal.
Yep.
For 5.5 cents per rifle, they're willing to let that 9-year-old kid die. And they knew it. They knew that your kids would die. By the way, this doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect a lot of liberals because I don't own a gun. I don't have a rifle. I would never have this problem. It affects you guys. Some liberals have them, but a lot of conservatives have rifles, right?
Yep.
And they're willing to let your kids die because they wanted to make an extra nickel.
In fact, through these documents, we have perfect evidence showing that they knew that this was a problem, but they decided not to do anything about it. So back in 1995, they had drafted a notice to owners of this gun to kind of warn them that, hey, something bad could happen and maybe you should be careful, right? The notice said, the gun may accidentally fire when you move the safety from the safe position to the fire position or when you close the bolt. They ended up not releasing that notice because they realized that maybe the wording is too harsh. So let's just brush it under the rug and pretend like there isn't a problem. And for them, and this happens with many corporations, regardless if it's a gun manufacturer or something else, they basically decided that the cost of settling these lawsuits was less than fixing the problem.
You should put them out of business. And so, that's up to the jury. There's nothing you could do about it or I can do about it, except for the fact that, hey, libertarians unite with whoever else. You tell me all the time, free market will decide. So I guess no one should ever buy a Remington rifle again because they're willing to play with your lives. And this is for gun owners. We're trying to protect gun owners here because this could go off with it could kill you, it could kill your family member. But that jury should put a sentence on them so significant because if they make that cold-hearted calculation, and again, they're not people, it's a machine designed to maximize profit. And so if you say, okay, well, I think the lawsuit's going to cost me $10 million, but that 5.5 cents per rifle is going to make me $20 million. Okay, I'm going to make it because I'm going to make $10 million. All right, then feed another number into the machine. The number is, it's going to cost you $1 billion. Sorry, you're out of business. Well, next time, maybe you should learn not to play with people's lives. You know who makes independent media possible? You guys. Because of you, we can actually do this show free of any outside influence. That's what makes us so strong. Become a member today. tytnetwork.com/join. You are the media.